Chapter number 16. First Taste of Fame. When Britney left home for the first time, I felt a deep pit in my stomach. As a 15-year-old, she had been signed by Jive to a developmental deal, and when she was just 16, the record company sent her to New Jersey first and then Sweden to work with writer-producer Max Martin, who had helped create hits for the Backstreet Boys and Ace of Base. I was teaching at the time, and Lynne was just in kindergarten. I couldn't leave my responsibilities at home, so I allowed Britney to travel with a dear friend of mine, Felicia Culota, a young woman who worked alongside my best friend, Jill, as a dental hygienist in Kenwood. I look back now and I think the dread I felt was a combination of things. The wrenching a mother feels when her child leaves the nest for the first time. The conflicted desire to be with both of my daughters at the same time, even though I knew Lynne needed me more, and mostly the fear of the unknown. When my precious child walked through that doorway, what would be on the other side? I convinced myself that this was what Britney had dreamed of since she was a tiny girl. This was what she had been begging me to help her achieve since those early days of dance recitals and talent competitions. Even though Lord knows I had no idea we would ever get this far, God had opened door after door, which seemed to indicate that it was His will for her to walk through them. I still believe He meant for her to do just that. Of course, our choices on the other sides of those open doors have everything to do with making the most, or not, of the opportunities we are given. And unfortunately, as the business got bigger and seemed to take more and more of Britney's life, we as parents started to lose sight of the choices being made. Yet, that was down the road a ways. We still had no idea that one day soon, the more money she made, the less influence we would have over our own child. In fact, within a year, what we thought didn't amount to hill of beans to Britney. But before the tornado of fame blew through our lives, we had plenty to worry about at home. Finances were extremely tight, and my marriage was hanging by a string. Then one day, as the party got closer, something happened that disallowed me to pretend anymore. I was sitting in the lunchroom with Joy, eating, when someone said I had a call in the office. When I returned, Joy says the look on my face was wretched. Jamie's not coming home for the party, I said, bursting into tears. Jamie will be heartbroken. Then I remembered something. I hadn't ever told Jamie her daddy would be cooking for her party. Had something deep down told me she might be disappointed. After a few minutes of feeling sorry for myself, I pulled it together. It was back to the drawing board. My wonderful principal, Charlie Schwartz, gave me his calling card, not for the first or last time, to make calls. Remember, our phone was disconnected. To come up with a plan B for food. We ate hot dogs, potato salad, chips, and dip. Simple kids' party food. And Lynne had a ball. She never even knew her daddy had copped out, which was the way I wanted it. Still, disillusionments and money pressures were piling up. How soon would it be before our house of cards collapsed? I was driving Grandma Lexi's old jalopy, and we barely had enough money to keep the lights on. The phone was already turned off, due in large part to one of Jamie's workers who had stolen his cell phone and ran up $1,200 in calls before we were able to resolve the matter with the phone company. They turned off all our phone access, including our home phone. I remember when Britney had just come home from Europe and I was planning a birthday party for Jamie Lynne, who was about to turn 6. She was so excited about her party and I wanted to make it special for her. Jamie had promised to come home from his job. He was still on the road a lot with his construction jobs and cook for the event, which meant the food would be outstanding. I'm sure I bored my friends and coworkers half to death with my daily updates on the party. Who was coming, what cute decorations we would have, and what kinds of food we would eat. Every person in that lunchroom knew way too much about that party and had patiently answered questions from me like, "Do you think this type of potato salad will go with that kind of meat? What kind of punch do you think? Orange splash or red berry sing?" In hindsight, clearly this obsession with my little girl's party was of my way of distracting myself from our family's problem.